Good morning everyone. Today I am here to give a seminar on topic program verification. And I am going to cover topics: classification of the verification method, framework for software verification, proof calculus for the partial correctness. Let us move to the first topic: classification of the verification method. There are 5 methods used: proof-based, semi-atomic, property-oriented, application domain, pre-post development. Let us move to the first one: proof-based. In proof-based method, we do not check exhaustively every state that the system get into, as one does with the model checking. Uh, this would be impossible because the program variables can have infinitely many interacting values. Instead, we construct a proof that the system satisfies the property at the hand using proof calculus. In semi-atomic, there are many steps involved in the providing that program satisfies its specifications are mechanical. There are some steps that involve some intelligence and that cannot be carried out automatically by the computer. In property oriented, what we do here is that we verify the properties of the program rather than full suspicion of its behavior. In application domain, the domain of application is a sequential transformation of programs. The sequential means that we assume that the program runs on single processor and that there are no concurrency issues. But transformation means that the program takes an input and after some computation it execute with the and executed and terminate with the an input. In pre and post development, this technique should be used during the coding process for small fragments of the program that perform an identifiable task and hence should be used during the development process in order to avoid the functional bugs. Now I am going to explain the reasons for specifying and verifying the code. It involves the task of specifying and verifying the code is often perceived as an unconditional addition to the programmer's job and it is a dispensable one. The arguments in favor of verification include the followings, that is documentation, time to market, refactoring, certification and audits. What is documentation? In documentation, the specification of the program is an important component in its documentation and the process of documenting the programs may raise or resolve the important issues. In time to the market, the as you know, debugging of the big systems during the testing phase is costly and the time consuming and it is also time consuming and local fixes often introduce the new bugs at the other places. For example, experience has shown that the verifying the programs with respect to the formal specification can significantly cut down the duration of software development and maintenance by eliminating the uh, errors in the planning phase and helping in the clarification of the rules structural aspect of the system components. Whereas in refactoring, properly specified and verified software are, as you know, is easier to reuse since we have clear specification of what it is meant to do. In certification and audits, it involves two systems, so that is safety critical system and commercial critical systems. The safety critical systems involves a computer systems such as control of the cooling systems in nuclear power stations or cockpits of the modern artifacts that demand their software be specified and verified with as much as rigor and formality as possible. On the other hand, the commercial critical systems such as accountancy software used by the banks, but this software what they require is they should be delivered with warranty as well as guarantee for the correct performance with the proper use. A framework for a software verification. For example, if suppose that you are working for the software company and your task is to write the programs which are meant to solve the sophisticated problems or computations. The typically such project involves an outside customer, a utility company, for example, who has written up the informal description that is in plain English that involves the it could be the project may be involve the development and maintenance of the database of electricity accountants with all the possible application of the applications that may involve automating of the automated billing, customer services, and so on. Since that these informal specifications of the description may cause ambiguities, which eventually could result in the serious and expensive design faults. So what we require is formal specification, because formal specifications are usually symbolic encoding of the real world constructs into some sort logic. Therefore, a framework for producing the software could require the following. That is, first one is converting the informal description, that is R, means requirement for an application domain, into an equivalent formula, that is phi R, of the some symbolic logic. Write a program, that is P, which is meant to realize the formula phi R in the programming environment supplied by the company, or can be wanted by some particular customer. At last, what you do is prove that program P satisfies the formula phi R. Next topic is core programming language. What core programming language involves is it consists of three syntactic domains, that is integer expression, boolean expression, and commands. In integer expressions are built in the familiar way for variables like x, y, z, numericals like 0 to 0, 1 to n, and -1, -2, and some it also involves some basic operations like mathematical operations, addition, multiplication, subtraction, and so on. These are the example, that is phi, that is numerical, x means variable, numerical including variables like 4 plus x minus 3. These all are valid integer expression. The integer expression, the grammar for generating the integer expression is given in the form, that is here as shown. This is in this grammar here n indicates the any numerical values like 0, 1, 2, whereas x indicates the variable, and so on. Now I'm going to explain boolean expression. Boolean expression is the boolean expression that is indicated by b. Since if statement and while statements contain the conditions in them, we also need a syntactic domain b, that is of the boolean expression. The Backus-Naur form for boolean expression can be written as here, that is true, magnitude of false, not of b, and b and b, b or b, and e is less than e. In this case, uses of not means negation, and means conjunction, and or means destruction of the boolean expression. For example, if you want to test the equality of the condition like e1 is equivalent to 2, you can express it is by using the not, that is negation, uh, via not of e1 less than e2 and not of e2 less than e1. By knowing the boolean expression and integer expression, now we are going to find out the commands, that is syntactic domain of commands. They are built from the simpler commands. Using assignment statement and constructor structures, we can think about the commands as actual programs. Now we are write the grammar for commands in Backus-Naur form as follows. In this expression, braces indicates that not the indicate to mark the extent of the block of the code in the if statement and in the while statement. That is, for example, that are used in the like languages like C and Java. But one more thing is Java, but in the above example where x is indicates that the atomic command, that is x equal to e, is the atomic command, is actual assignment statement. It evaluates the integer expression e in the current state of the store, and then overwrites the current value stored in the x with the result of that evaluation. In second, that is the compound command, that is c1 colon c2, as shown in the above formula, is a sequential composition of the commands, that commands of c1 and c2. It begins by executing c1 in the current state of the store. If that execution terminates, then it executes the c2 in the state of the store, resulting from the execution of c1. Otherwise, if the execution of c1 does not terminate, then the run of the c1 colon c2 also does not terminate. Another condition is that control structure, that is if b1 b of c1 else c2. if it first evaluates the boolean expression b in the current state of the store. If that result is true, then c1 is executed. If the b is evaluated to false, then c2 is executed. The third control structure, that is file b of c, allows us to write the statement which is are executed repeatedly. Its meaning is that the boolean expression b is evaluated in the current state of the store b. If the b evaluates to false, then the command terminates. Otherwise the command c will be executed. Next one, ordered triples. Before going to the definition of ordered triples, for example, some informal requirements like given in the form of as compute the number y whose square is less than the input x, then the appropriate specification may be, you can write it as y.y is less than x. But what if the input x is minus 4? Therefore there are no numbers whose square is less than the negative number, so it is not possible to write the program in such a way that it will work with all the possible inputs. So what we require is this informal requirement should be little bit modified. That is what it means. If the requirement should be in the form like, if the input is x is a positive number, then compute the number whose square is less than x. This means that we need be able to talk not just about the state after the program executes, but also about the state before it executes. Therefore the important the assertion here is that is a triple that can be written in the form of pi p of xi. Here in this triple, the program p is run which state that p run in the state that satisfies the phi, then the state resulting from the p's execution also satisfies the xi. Therefore we can write the specification for the above informal requirement as x is greater than 0 p and y.y is less than x. And therefore the horror triple can be defined in the form of triple, that is pi p of xi of the specification is called horror triple. In this formula, the pi is called the precondition of the program p, whereas xi is called the postcondition of the program p. A store or a state of the core program is a function L that assigns to each variable x as an integer L of x. And the fourth is that formula phi of the predicate logic with function symbols like unary operators like addition, subtraction, multiplication, and binary predicate symbols like equal and less than. We say that state L satisfies the phi, or the state return it as L enters the phi if and only if the model enters the phi holds, where L is viewed as a lookup table and model M has a set A which contains all the integers and interprets the function and predicate symbols in the standard manner. For hard triple, what we demand is the quantifiers in the phi and xi only bind the variables that do not occur in the program P. Next I am going to explain the partial and total correctness. What is partial correctness? The partial correctness states that the triple P is satisfied under the partial correctness if for all the states which satisfy the phi, then the state resulting from P execution states the post condition xi, provided that P actually terminates. In this case, the entailment of the partial correctness of the triple holds. This entailment is called satisfaction relation for the partial correctness. For example, if we are given the program like in particular program, like if we are written while true of braces with x equal to 0, then it indicates that which we endlessly loops and never terminates, and but it satisfies all the specification, since partial correctness only says that what must happen if the program terminates. But on the other hand, what total correctness says that says is requires that program terminate in order for it satisfies the specification. Then total correctness definition of the total correctness says that triple pi of p of j is satisfied under the total correctness if for all the states in which P is executed which satisfy the precondition phi, then P is guaranteed to terminate, and then resulting state satisfies the post condition xi. In this case, we say that the entailment of the total correctness of the triple holds, and then this entailment of the total correctness is called the satisfaction relation of the total correctness. proof calculus for partial correctness. There are 5 rules are used in this proof calculus. Those are composition, assignment, if statement, partial while, then implied. The formulas for these proof rules, that is composition, can be written in this form, then assignment, then if statement, then partial while, then implied. Let us study one by one. Composition. In composition, given the specification for program fragments, that is C1 and C2, say that phi of C1 neta and neta of C2 is high, where the post condition of C1 is also the precondition of C2. The proof rules for this composition, as shown in this formula, allows us to derive the specification for C1 colon C2, that is namely phi of C1 colon C2 of J. Thus, if you know that C1 takes the phi state to the neta state and C2 takes the neta state to the J state, then running of C1 and C2 in that sequence will take the phi state to the J states. Assignment statement. Second one is the assignment statement. The rule for assignment has no premises and is therefore an axonomy for logic. What assignment tells us that if we wish to show that phi holds in the state after the assignment x equal to e, then we must show that j of e divides x holds before the assignment, that is x equal to e. J of e divides x, what it denotes is the formula for obtaining by taking the j and replacing all the free accounts of x with the e as defined. Thus, phi j of e divides x is a j with a e is in the place of x. This is the formula for assignment. For example, if the suppose that P is the program where x equal to 2, then the assignment statement can be written in this form, that is 2 equal to 2, P, then x equal to 2. Next one is if statement. The proof rule for if statement allows us to prove that the tuple of the form, that is phi if b of c1 else c2 of j. By decomposing it into two triples, the subgoals are corresponding to the case of the b evaluating to either true or evaluating to false. The precondition phi will not tell us anything about the value of the boolean expression b, so we have to consider both the cases. That is, uh, if the b is true in the state we start in, that is, and then it will execute the c1, and hence c1 will have to translate phi state to j states. Alternatively, if the b is false, then c2 has to be executed, and then c2 will do the job, that is, it will translate the phi state to j state. Thus we have to prove that phi and b with c1 of j and phi and negation of b with c2 of j, that divides phi if b of c1 else c2 of j. This is the formula for if statement. While statement. The rule for while statement is the most complicated one. This is because it is only one command that that is executes the same piece of code several times. That is like in other programming like a program language like C and Java. Therefore, the key ingredient for this while statement proof rule for while statement proof rule is invariant high. That is, in general, the body of the C of the C command, while B of C changes the value of the variable it manipulates, but invariant expresses a relationship between those values which is presented by the execution of C. Execution of C, where the phi expresses this variant. The rule that is in the formula phi and b with c of j states that if the j and b are true before we execute c and c terminates, then j will be the true after it. The conclusion of partial while states that no matter how many times the body of the c is executed, if the j is true initially and while statement terminates, then j will be the true at the end also. Moreover, since the while statements are terminated, then b becomes false. This is the formula for partial while. Implied. The one of the final rule required for the proof calculus, that is implied. If we prove that of triple, that is pi p of xi, and we have the formula pi which implies phi dash, and another one formula xi which implies xi dash, then we should also be allowed to prove that phi dash p with the xi dash. Then a sequent as shown here is valid if and only if the proof of the xi is in the natural deduction calculus for the predicate logic. This is the formula for uh, implied as shown here. One more thing about implied is that it will strengthen the precondition, that is phi, and weaken the post condition, that is xi, and it also act as a link between the programming logic as well as the predicate logic. Thank you.